So we are doing the little mini podcast to review Leon's Fantasy Cut. Yeah. So first impressions.
I thought that it took a while to get going, but
I felt the same.
yeah, I think
First quick interjection.
Yep.
It's directed and starring Josh Karras and co-directed and co-written. Written and directed by Josh Karras and also co-directed and co-written by John Valde. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's a buddy comedy with a little drama thrown in there about these two brothers who are going down different paths, and it's funny because we're the Film Buff brothers, and
Yeah.
and Nigel got a hold of me, and so I think that's great, but I could relate to it because I have a brother, right?
Yeah, totally.
So what did you think? First impressions.
First, impressions, from an overview perspective, I'll say that the sound I really enjoyed. I thought the sound was really good. I enjoyed the music that they had peppered throughout it. It wasn't too much music. I thought it was played at the appropriate times, and I thought that the audio quality was really good. I thought that the lighting was really good. At first, I didn't like that it was lots of either handheld or shoulder mounted camera.
Yep.
A lot of moving, but it wasn't like crazy shakiness. My first impressions of the film, I was like, it seems like a student film and there wasn't a lot at stake at first. It took me about halfway through the movie until I really started to enjoy it. Sorry, go ahead before I just talk way too long here.
I was thinking because cinematography, mostly was handheld tripod. Beautiful coloring, I thought, in the film as well. Yeah. Music was sparse. I wasn't a huge fan of the music. It was a little too
new age kind of stuff.
Yeah, I thought I don't know, would have been better for it.
But it worked for the content, I thought. It was appropriate for the content.
It's a comedy movie, and it was a kind of elevator music in certain parts, which reminds me of other kind of comedy films, Happiness being one of them. That something about elevator music, like it's kind of funny, like dentist chair music.
Yeah.
And then acting, like I said, likability with the characters wasn't really there. I kind of found both characters to be idiots, but they looked like real people, and that's what I love about independent films. Is like everyone was believable in the sense they look like real people.
Yeah, unique looking.
Yeah. Editing, I thought there was a few continuity things that if you're a filmmaker, especially, you're going to pick out a couple. Not a big deal. It happens in small films. I did feel some of the dialogue was a little contrived, especially I think the restaurant scene. But again, the story.
They're talking politics on the date or whatever.
But again, relatability for just the story and what kind of middle-aged guys go through trying to figure out their life path and all.
And they had to establish the contrast. I felt that way too. I thought that some of the lines were cliche, oh, my family coming over, and the capitalism is, a great kind of thing, which I'm pro-capitalism. But I just thought, I think you said forced. It was a little rushed or whatever. But I thought they needed that to contrast the characters from the girlfriend Ella, or not girlfriend. It turns out she's like, I'm not your girlfriend. But anyway, they had to use lines like that to differentiate them. And I like another line where he's chilling with his buddies and they're playing palm ball. And you're like, oh, what, you think she's better than us? They're like, yeah, I do think she's better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert. We're going to talk about lots of plot points. So you definitely want to go see Leon's Fantasy Cut first before watching this podcast.
We'll probably cut that into the beginning.
Oh, well, we could. Yeah. I mean, I guess we didn't really reveal any plot points
yet.
until now. But and I felt that around that point in the movie, that's when the stakes were really raised. It was lots of character development at first, and that's why I didn't really appreciate it. I'm just like, where is this movie going? It doesn't really seem to be about much. But man, I thought that all the characters were really believable. I thought that guy that played the rapper Yuri
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
hilarious. I thought, like, when he's just like staring at that producer guy, and that producer guy was almost like a caricature of like a nerdy producer.
Yeah, yeah. I think some moments he really nailed, and some moments it was just the same sort of thing over
Yuri
and over again.
or
yeah, Izzy or the
Iggy
guy.
is the guy with the long hair, the brother with
Yeah,
the long
that
hair.
guy.
He's over the top, like
Yeah.
But I like that because he was like he was like the foil to his brother. Like his brother's more reserved. He's a salesman. He's more like a traditional kind of guy in a sense, and trying to change his life. And his brother, well, I guess he's trying to change his life as well, but he's trying to go in a more dynamic direction with like the rap and the music videos. And he's just so exuberant with Ezra, the guy who plays the playwright guy, the actor. I thought that guy was hilarious too. You know,
Oh,
just
yeah, he was good.
Let's eat the poop or whatever in the rat thing. I thought that was hilarious. And then like it was cool with like the awkwardness of George. He's the short hair brother, not liking the play, and his brother just being like, "This is awesome," and just and then he goes, he's like, "Let me talk to you for a second," to the playwright guy, and he's like, you know, he's trying to get involved in that. Or he's just trying to get involved in like entertainment any way he can. So that guy grew on me big time. At first, I was just like, "Oh, he's like overacting." I realized that he's not even really an actor. He just did the 2 films. Paint was the movie they did before that, which I do want to see. His acting was really good. Yuri was really good. That Ezra guy was really good. And he's talking to his friends like, "Oh, I don't know who that guy was." And
I thought the barber was pretty good.
he was good too when he's making fun of.
Yeah, that scene. Like I thought he was the best actor in the film. That barber guy.
He's Leon. That's Leon.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because the fantasy cut is like the place where I guess that's the barber that
Oh,
they go
okay.
to, right? They named it after like the barber shop.
Yeah, and then the sensei is the producer of the film, I think, as well. The martial arts sensei guy.
That's when I really started laughing when he's like, "Oh, I don't have the karate pants or whatever," you know.
Yeah,
like,
and then he tucks it in. He tucks in the thing. Yeah. Like, another thing, just a small thing, but he gets 2 haircuts within the first like half an hour of the movie, and I was just like, you know, how many haircuts do we need? Like, I get it. Like, he needs a place for this scene to occur, but like it just seemed like weird that he'd be getting a haircut like twice in 2 weeks. But some people maybe do that. I don't know.
because he's a salesman, I guess. Like that
I
shows
guess.
that he's the materialistic kind of brother.
Yeah,
whereas like
that's true. That's a
the
good
other guy
point.
has the long hair, right? It's the contrast.
Yeah, definitely got Clerks vibes from the film, and I don't know if they were going for that, but buddy comedies a lot of the time it goes that way. What else to say? Wasn't keen on the whole thing about like portraying white rappers or rappers in general as like kind of goofy with pipe dreams, and then there was a couple lines about conspiracy theories and Monsanto that I felt were kind of a jab at that, which I wasn't a fan of, but that's just my personal preference.
Let's see here. Yeah, kind of remind me of Taxi Driver in that the guy was George was pursuing a woman who wasn't really interested in him, and he's kind of like half stalking her, right? So that, and then obviously it being from New York, and him like Travis Bickle is a veteran. You know, he's come from hardship and speaks or thinks highly of his parents. You know, he's writing back home to his parents, like bigging himself up. Whereas George is telling Ella on their date how he thinks highly of his parents, right? Talking about how his dad came here and saw like the homeless people and was like, "What is he doing? Like, you know, there's so many opportunities out here." And she's like, "Oh no, it's not like that." Yeah, let's see what else I have. Oh man, the tracking shot when they're on the date and then they follow the waiter into the kitchen. Then he has like a few words with the chef, not like bad words. He just talks to the chef for a second and then comes back with their plates. I thought it was like unnecessary, but like just made it like artistic. I don't know. It was just cool. Like it felt like Abel Ferrara-esque, or what was that we were watching the other day? I don't know if it was Exorcist, or what was it? It was, I think it was something by Abel Ferrara. And then they just like pan to a shot of like one of these like a street person or someone on the street, totally random. I don't know if it was John Cassavetes, can't remember what it was, but it just added this like artistic, and it just shows like the ambience. Oh, another thing I liked, there was lots of long duration takes in it. Lots of the shots were continuous, like when they're playing like the
I did
handball
notice
thing.
that. Yeah, I did notice that they were using the camera, because you don't want to do 20 setups, and so it's like, again, that thing of Spielberg always does it, is like open with either a close shot, or usually open with a close shot, and then slowly by the end of the scene it's still all that one shot, but it's a wide shot now, so you've revealed all this stuff without changing angles and setups and stuff. So yeah, no, these guys definitely know what they're doing as far as filmmakers go, and I'd recommend the film. But yeah, there's a lot of the film just felt, even with the ending, I felt like it just seemed sort of contrived.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was kind of like a curveball, but it was nice because they didn't end it in a predictable way. Like I did not see that coming.
No,
right? Like,
yeah.
they could have ended it on like a lull. And you know what's interesting? I remember that you were mentioning Clerks. They did end it on like a lull kind of thing. Like originally Dante was supposed to die, and then I guess the producer or someone, I don't know if it was Weinstein or someone, was like, "No, you don't need to do that. Just end it like, you know, in a not a morose, in a subdued way, just how like the movie begins." Yeah. But what I really liked about it, again, spoiler alert, we're talking about the end of the movie here. I thought it was so funny. Like I thought he stabbed him in the stomach.
That's
like,
what I thought. Yeah.
I thought him sad, and then it's funny because he just stabbed him in the leg. And then he's like, you know what? I'll go to jail. You know, tell him I did it. Go to jail, and then he's like, okay, man, yeah. And then he changes his mind. He's like, I can't go to jail, man. And like, yeah, no, I thought that for me, like that was exciting. And like, what's going to happen? Is he going to jump out the window? Is he going to get shot by the police? You know, like, is Iggy going to change his mind and not sue him?
Yeah.
And then him in the back of the cop car, that was, I don't know, a pretty good, like, last, like, shot. Somewhat reminds me of the end of Pearl, where it's just, like, her face. I thought that was a good way for, like, the credits to come up.
Yeah. Interesting. It reminds me of the ending of Taxi Driver 2. Whereas she's in the back of the cab and he's in the front of the cab driving, but instead he's in the back of the cop car and there's a cop driving. And there's another movie that ends like that too. Fargo, I think, ends like that, where Frances McDormand is like, you know, she's got that crazy wood chipper guy in the back.
Like, all that for nothing. Whatever, right?
It's kind of an interesting way to end a film. It does kind of feel like a final ride, final trip,
and Psycho. Well, he's in the back. He's like, "Oh, I was cured, all right," or something like that. You know, he's in the back of the car, right? Like,
I think he's in the police station, but it's the same thing. Of just that close up of the character, and you don't know if, you know, this guy is going to be worse, because when he stabbed him and all that, I was like, okay, finally he's going to flip, but he doesn't like flip. He almost flips and is like, yes, I've got to go to jail. That's what I need. Very dramatic. And then he says, okay, I was just being dramatic, I guess. I don't want to go to jail. So, I kind of wish that like the ending would have been they would have carried on with that high stakes.
Yeah.
But I also appreciate the irony and humor and the realisticness of that whole ending that they went with. Yeah.
And it wrapped it up like within, you know, around like 2 hours, I guess the movie is.
Yeah. I think it's 140.
And it also leaves it open for a sequel if they did want to do it, like him like going to jail. Like, I don't know, it does definitely have like the buddy comedy Trailer Park Boys-esque like kind of like vibe to it, like this like dim-witted kind of guys who are aspirational. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to after beginning the movie. So it just goes to show, you know, you need to I need to anyway, get fairly deep into a movie time-wise before I, yay or nay it.
For sure. And it's his first film, I think, this guy, he's mostly an actor.
Yeah, they did Paint. Those two guys did Paint before that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
okay.
I think they did a year or two before that, which now that I've seen Leon's fantasy cut, I do want to watch Paint as well.
For early directorial efforts, for sure. Like, well done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hats off.
All right.
Okay.
Boom.